Hi everyone, it's Dale from IGN Southeast Asia, and on this episode of IGN Deconstructed, we're going to take a deep dive into Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. The Guardians of the Galaxy was not a household name like the Avengers or the X-Men, being an obscure team within the Marvel Universe. After a reboot of the team and a subsequent Marvel Cinematic Universe film, StarLord and his band of misfits are now a major part of the Marvel canon. With their prominent role in movies, animated series, and video games, especially with the team being the first heroes you play as in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, it was only a matter of time before the team received their own dedicated video game. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, developed by Eidos Montreal and published by Square Enix, did not gather a lot of faith from fans when it was first announced. Yet, after it was released, we can safely say that it is one of the best Marvel-based video games ever created. A lot of that has to do with how the main character, Peter Quill, also known as StarLord, is depicted in terms of his background and motivations, as well as his relationship with the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy. The problem with silver screen adaptations is that they tend to become the definitive version of the character for the general public. And while Chris Pratt's portrayal of the character has been well received thanks to his comedic chops, it is his more emotional moments that have been unpopular with audiences. The common perception is that the Avengers would have won the battle against Thanos if Peter Quill had kept his emotions in check and not ruined the only chance of winning they had. Another point of contention is with how StarLord, despite being the leader of the Guardians, is not treated as such and does not receive the respect he deserves from his teammates. This is where the video game adaptation gets things right from the get-go, by keeping all the things that are fundamental to StarLord's character, like his debonair charm and free-loving ways. But the game still keeps his more humanistic side in contrast with his out-of-this-world teammates. The biggest thing that this version emulates from James Gunn's treatment of the character in the MCU is his love for music and his previous life on Earth. But instead of having Peter Quill grow up in the 70s, this version grew up in the pop culture heavy and new wave 80s instead. This time around, we have Peter Quill who owns a Chewbacca figure, a Tron poster, and is a fan of the X-Men's Dazzler. The ironic fact that he is essentially Han Solo in his own Millennium Falcon is not lost on him, as this Star-Lord owns his space-age swagger. So while he mostly enjoys blasting out tunes from Tears for Fears or A Flock of Seagulls, this version of Peter Quill has to be a more dedicated leader to his team, especially when Rocket Raccoon, Gamora, Drax the Destroyer, and Groot are quick to go at each other's throats. Despite this general distrust and doubt among the crew, the one thing they have in common is how much they trust Star-Lord as a leader. No matter their petty squabbles, they know that in the end it is Peter Quill who calls the shots. In many regards, they act like the Straw Hats from One Piece, with Star-Lord acting a lot like the goofy Captain Luffy, Gamora being the badass assassin like Nico Robin, Rocket being the unappreciated genius like Usopp, Drax being a no-nonsense fighter like Zoro, and Groot, well, Groot's just Groot. In fact, keeping the morale of the team up and managing the relationship between the crew is an important part of the game. Kinda like the Mass Effect series. The best thing about this game is how it ties all these elements together through gameplay. Players assume the role of Star-Lord at all times, giving out orders to the rest of the team in battle. While this commander-like approach may seem disengaging on paper, everything flows naturally when playing, as Star-Lord's elemental blasters are the tool to open enemies up for much stronger attacks by his teammates. So for example, you might need to raise an enemy stagger bar to destroy him. All you have to do is to get Groot to tie him up in vines, have Rocket throw out a bomb or two, have Drax chip away his stagger meter, and use Gamora to finish him off. It's like orchestrating a battle scene, and it's really cool. There's also the special team huddle that players can do mid-battle, which gathers the team to refocus their efforts, and acts as a great way to truly put the players' leadership skills to the test. Beyond that, many of Star-Lord's exploration and combat abilities are an amalgamation of gameplay systems seen in Mass Effect, Metroid Prime, and a hint of Ratchet & Clank. Scanning your surroundings like Samus Aran is also a fun part of the game, letting players really immerse themselves into the Marvel Universe, with even the smallest enemy or in-game item having some sort of description to them. Lastly, there are also some fun hidden costumes for each member of the Guardians littered throughout each level. Whether it is outfitting the entire team in their MCU clothes or in the Nova Corps uniform, there's a lot of fun to be had with this feature. While it is a cliche at this point to have players really feel like the superhero they're playing as with each video game adaptation, like with the Batman Arkham series or Insomniac Spider-Man games, Guardians of the Galaxy allows you to embody and play the best aspects of humanity. As StarLord, players have to be a team player, an inspiring leader, a battle commander, a capable negotiator, and an all-around nice guy. It's the best part of this game, and we're hoping there'll be more in the future. If you've ever wanted a solid adventure with Marvel's Band of Misfits, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is available now on consoles and PC.